We are completely open. We run a very open door policy here. Mr. Ferryman, who's just on his way back in a little minute, has pulled together a schedule of lessons for you that after break time you'll be able to pick and choose what you would like to go and see. Our pupils are so used to visitors, and in fact we welcome them all the time. This year alone we've had the Netherlands, we've had Denmark, and now we're in Iceland, so we're all good. This is not an accurate representation of me. It looks like the worst picture and it's on the website. But my name's Maxine Hughes. I am the acting head teacher. Our head teacher is Pauline Walker, who's inclusive and is accessible by everyone. What that also means is that we have to be cognizant of who is in our school so that we can get the right supports to them. So we have a free school meal entitlement, FME. So for those who fall below a certain income bracket in their families, they may be entitled to receive food at school. And our school percentage of pupils that access free school meals are 92 out of 1,600. So it's about 5.8%. That is not the number that we know need to access food and services like it. That is actually much higher. Acronym here, SIND. So this is a Scottish measure. This is I love this bit. This is my geek part coming through. In Scotland, we apply something called an index of deprivation to all of our nation, and we apply all of the privileges that should be accessible to everybody. And within your address, we look at what privileges you have, and if you don't have them, we start taking them away from you, and we come up with a number. This catchment area for our school, most of the children in this catchment area are something called SIND 9 and 10, which means that they have a lot of privileges. You may have seen some of the houses and so on when you come up the driveway, and they are like millionaires row, right? J.K. Rowling, the author, she stays not too far. She has built one of her houses isn't too far away from here. So there's a lot of privilege here. The privileges include things like employment, how much you earn, but also things like access to schooling, access to transport, so on and so forth. At the other end of the scale, we have SEND 1 and 2. So that means there's a lot more deprivations for those young people than sometimes the people who live maybe even over the road for them. So one of the Scottish Government measures is how well we provide for those who are in our lower end of deprivation, so the most deprived children in Scotland. As you can see, our number isn't actually all that high. 74 pupils or 4.7%. Some of the other state or public schools in Edinburgh, that number is enormous. So not too far away from here, maybe 3 or 4 miles away, is an area called Wester Hales. Their profile would be probably very, very close to being fully 1 and 2. So their needs and their demands are much, much higher and much different. Extracurricular creativity is really what we're about, and then obviously developing things like resilience for the future. I can see people look established down at Holyrood at the bottom of the Royal Mile. There is an abbey attached to Holyrood Palace, and so the first ever school was a school for religious instruction to train boys to be priests. It's got S3, we have progressive trips, so it's a day trip, then a 2-day trip, and then there's a residential trip, so that it builds that everyone has the opportunity to do that. And if a family cannot pay, we will pay for them. We are very lucky that most of our families and young people are able to do so, and a lot of our families are very generous and want to gift some money so that other people can have those opportunities. Essentially, each lesson should have a starter where the teacher talks to them about what they're going to learn or what they've learned previously, building into today's activities, some activities in the middle, and then a plenary at the end where they review their learning. September, October until March, and we are organised into different faculties by subjects. So each month there are 2 faculties that join up together, so say PE Science, Physical Education and Science, and they pick each other to go and observe and give feedback on. We create a whole digital feedback form sheet, so I've got all of the feedback in there, and then the teachers are asked to meet and talk about what they've seen and give each other feedback collaboratively, and then the faculty leaders are asked to come together with us as senior management to talk about where the good practice is and what still needs to be improved upon. If there is anyone who is really struggling for whatever reason, then we need to get in there and offer the supports. So it's that kind of continuous conversation about what's going well, where the super practice is, because we'll steal all the good practice and replicate it elsewhere, but also to support if it's required. If there are more than one thing you would like to visit at any one time, that is fine. Halfway through the lesson, just ask a pupil, can you take me to so-and-so? And they will take you there, that's not a problem. So that will take place between 10:35 and 1:05. So we've got 3 scheduled lessons within that, but like I say, travel around, go and see what you want, not a problem at all. And then we'll pop back here for lunch, and then after lunch we'll have our Superstar Showcase. So at your request, we have our sustainability lead, who is Torkel Malcolm. He is one of our new teachers, our newly qualified teachers, but he has had experience in industry and led sustainability programs before his life as a teacher. So he has taken on the sustainability role here in the school this year, so excited to hear him. We have digital learning with one of our digital learning little heroes, Sharon. Sharon's an art teacher. She is streets ahead in terms of digital education and what she does with pupils, and how she creates inclusivity using digital education. We are a fully digital school, so everywhere you go, all of our pupils have one-to-one devices. They all have iPads. That is an Edinburgh school strategy. You will see the same in every Edinburgh school that you go to. That doesn't mean, I'm a historian, I love a bit of pen and paper, I love a poster, but it will hopefully be really nice for you to see how we are progressing in a digital age with our young people. And then pupil voice, so you met 2 of the captains already, Ethan and Melissa, and then our third captain, Elizabeth, will come up and we will talk to you about our pupil voice strategy. That is something else that we have been highly commended on and is now replicated not only across Edinburgh, but across Scotland as we work with other schools today. So all we ask is that our pupils put it away, and that's it. They can use them at break and lunchtime, so we give them that little bit of an allowance, but otherwise in lessons and so on, that is it, it is away. If they have it out, the office is called and the pupil is sent to the office to hand in the phone where it remains for the rest of the day. So the consequences for the student are too high, they don't want to lose the phone for the rest of the day, so they know just to keep it away. Okay, perfect.
That's something we need to work on, I'd say. It's something that we bring up in like our meetings.
Yeah.
And you said if you take, so is it...
This one's come from directly from the authority, so every school in Edinburgh should be displaying this and sharing it with parents and carers.
So like anyone can come to it.
Yeah. We have a similar
Þið speklast þetta?
Take off a lot of your subjects.
Nei.
S6 fær að koma hérna og kaupa sér kaffi og eitthvað, en svo partur af þeim sem eru þarna á efsta, í hérna, og vilja verða svona kaffibarþjónar, þá geta þau fengið hérna þjálfun og réttindi með því að vinna hérna. The original building from like we are talking to them about broad choices, about helping them plan, and then they will have a conversation with guidance teacher in much more depth. So we're just kind of signposting resources and making their qualities, but also as well the reasons why they're making the choices, so to make sure that they're thinking about things that they enjoy, that they're good at, where that could maybe lead to, so that they don't just pick the subject because their best friend is doing it, or pick it because they like the teacher, if that makes sense.
At which age do you start talking to them?
So we actually introduce careers from S1, and actually they do a wee bit of work in primary school as well. Obviously very light, very broad.
Yeah.
This is not going to work.
you'd like. So you've got your big stick. So you can go in and use the side of the stick as much as possible. Just go messy, okay? Super messy. And then you want to rub the ink into the surface. Make it a tiny bit too much. Doing it in little circles tends to lift the ink. Difference. So you take your sponge, you just dampen the paper. With this, you could put it in the sink, but I find it gets too wet. So, ink side down onto your paper. Just gonna take this off. You want this in there as many times as you like. Got that so far? When you're happy, pull it out. There you go. It's like magic.
Our gas central heating when it works. So only 30% of our energy is from sustainability, and that is from wind and rain to our students. Okay, so there's 3 elements to it. We've got sustainable development in education, but we've also got outdoor learning and global citizenship. So we've added those 2 in. We couldn't take it as simply as just taking it from a unit. No, we had to add in a bit more. So we've added in these 2 bits. And the rationale behind it is it enables greater connection to nature. So if you do outdoor learning, the children are really out there and seeing it with their own eyes, touching it, feeling it, and so that gives them greater connection. And it should foster a pro-environment attitude to say human rights, growing food, all sorts, really broad. Again, we're doing really well there. We've got 70% respondents setting up excursions that involve outdoor learning. A lot of that's Duke of Edinburgh, if you've heard of that. Projects that some of our students are involved in just now. And last but not least, we've also got our wee eco-enterprise club that I've just set up. Clickers. Now, when you look at these cards, you will see there's little letters around them. Little letters, right? It enables children who may not have great literacy to still be able to answer and engage in those questions. It gathers data on each of these will be individualised to you. Okay, so you can gather data to see how they're doing over the lessons. And I'm going to give you a test now. Okay, I'm going to give you a test on how well you've listened to what I've been saying. Right? And it's a multi-choice question. To answer it, you will turn it to an A, B, C, or D. I can see there's fear in the audience now. A, B, C, or D to see which one's correct. Okay. There are 3 core elements to Scotland's Learning for Sustainability initiative. What are they?
Já, rautt það hérna Emma Watson, Ingvar Sigurðsson, Johnny Depp og Anita Bríam.
Microsoft Teams, we use Teams for every class that we teach. As a curriculum leader, I have access to all of my classes' Teams and everybody within the department specifically. So it was how can we communicate that with them without them having to post it on a channel where everybody can channel. So I'll show you in a minute, but when you click on the fact that most students have an attention span of a minute, 2 minutes, you know, and then so the TikTok is really good because you can do small snappy videos and almost summarise a topic or summarise a lesson theme. Image, you will be painting it today, okay? So they've got their iPads, so they have to look for their image, bite-sized pieces. Like I say, there is a video that's much longer than this, but this is just like a quick synopsis of a thing called Sketchbook app that students quite like to use as well. You know, the assist button that you can get on the iPad. So quite often we'll do a screen record of the iPad if we're teaching them how to use a piece of software. So this is a Sketchbook app that's on the iPad. Now there's no volume on this, but there's me talking as I'm moving things about. So this is her design, and I'm explaining to her what she needs to do next, what tools she needs to use and things like that. Can you imagine if I tried to just write that down for her or speak to her over the phone? It would be very difficult. So this is quite a good way for her to have a visual demonstration and for me to quickly show her on the iPad. And again, that one lasted about confident using digital tools. There's always a sort of simple way around it.
And give our students much more agency than they had done. A lot of our big ideas and our big improvements come directly from our students, and why shouldn't it be? We want everything to be as student-led as possible. So here are our captains, Ethan, Elizabeth and Melissa, to give us the information about how Pupil Voice works, what they've been up to this year and the improvements that they hope to make.
I think a lot of you met me earlier, and these are the two vice captains here. If you guys want to introduce yourselves.
I'm Melissa. I'm Elizabeth.
And we'll start off with the first leadership at the Royal High is the 12 Nation Captains.
It was Pink Friday, which you can see just there, which we had to raise awareness for breast cancer by inviting pupils to come into the school and wear pink. I'm unfortunately not in that image because I did not have any pink clothing.
This was attended by the First Minister of Scotland, and this gave the school captains the opportunity to discuss pupil voice in education. And the Atlantic Rim Collaboratory Summit, the nation captains are in charge of creating their own improvement plans. So ANGLES is school and community, CELTS is skills for life, GALES is success and achievements, FRITS is relationships, HICS is health and well-being, SCOTS is curriculum, and basically I've gone a little bit more in depth on what
the theme of the prom would be masquerade, so it just means that everyone can have an opinion on what type of theme the prom is. Sports competitions, we want to organise as much sports events as we can, just to encourage school spirit and probably most importantly teamwork. Increasing celebrations for people's achievements and encouraging people to speak up about their accomplishments, so everyone deserves to feel proud of what they achieve, maybe things even out within the school. So we're hopefully planning on maybe setting up a forum or some sort with the local community through volunteering. By working with the local community, we can make a difference beyond the school, and we actually plan next week to support the Scottish Poppy Appeal within Davis's Mains, which is just near the school.